Yes, it is a 7:45. It is time for us to get some history in your ears. And we do that with History Out There and our very talented Harold Peacock. How are you, mate?
Very well, Damo. I'm very excited. This story is good. And, look, happy Melbourne Cup Day. But, hey, let's go back to a bit of history other than Melbourne Cup today, I say.
Exactly, mate. We're taking the people back to 160 years ago this month at Glengallan.
Yeah, that's right. But Glengallan is a heritage-listed homestead about 15 k's north of Warwick. A lot of people know it. It's been restored. But the head station was built from 1864. Now, a tale has been handed down from Glengallan's very earliest days, and it concerns the Reverend Benjamin Glennie and a ghost.
Oh.
Now, Reverend Glennie was an Anglican minister who in 1848 presided over the very first Church of England service on the Darling Downs. And you'd recognise his name because the Glennie School at Toowoomba is named after him.
Right.
Now, the legend is that one night when the Reverend and a companion were on horseback along the road between Goombara and Glengallan stations, a white shape loomed up in front of them, causing their mounts to bolt. Now, other riders subsequently also saw the alleged ghost, which finally was laid to rest as a large white owl. But thereafter, the gate where the clergyman and his companion had their haunting experience was known as Ghost Gate, and it's still marked there today.
Oh.
In fact, a number of riders at night since then have sweared to their dying days that as they neared the Ghost Gates, their horses would tremble and shy, and then the gates would slowly swing open and close again as they dashed through. Now, that's where the melancholy uncertainties of life come in, because they could help explain Glengallan's Ghost Gate. Now, it was on Saturday, the 26th of November, 1864, a man by the name of James Lovett was riding from Warwick to Glengallan station. On the way, he dismounted, and no sooner had he got off his horse than a large black snake flew at him. The snake bit him under the knee. He jumped back on his horse and galloped to Glengallan, where he presented his open knife to the overseer and told him to cut the poisoned piece out of his leg. Now, this was done, and then an Indigenous station hand there sucked about a pint of blood from the wound. Now, Dr. Frederick Margetts arrived from Warwick, but Lovett died about an hour later, and it's a shame because he's recorded as Lovett he was a strapping young man, upwards of 6 feet tall, which is very tall back then, and in the prime of his life. But these melancholy uncertainties of life don't end there, because it was on Sunday the 11th of December 1864, a young man named Joseph Duffy went to bathe in the Condamine near Sandy Creek. Now, wading out of his depth, he drowned. Duffy had arrived in the colony only about 2 months earlier, and his body was found the following day. Now, if you recognise the name, that's because a brother, Andrew Duffy, lived long enough to be regarded as a pioneer of the district as a grazier at Maryland. And that same evening in 1864, another man named John Maxwell went missing from Glengallan. He had been in Warwick on a drinking spree some days previously, and on his return to the station was suffering from an alcohol withdrawal delirium. He was found floating in the Glengallan Creek 5 days later by a stockman named Fred Bourne. Now, the inquest decided that Maxwell had drowned while in a state of temporary derangement. The stockman Bourne, well, he went on to become Mayor of Roma 3 times. Now, all 3 of these men, there was Lovett who died from a snake bite, Duffy who drowned virtually straight off the boat from England, and Maxwell who drowned in a delirium, all of them were employed at the Glengallan head station, and each one tragically died in less than 3 weeks of one another.
Wow.
So perhaps one of them was kind enough to open the Glengallan Ghost Gate for the Reverend Glennie. But whatever the truth, their demise in rapid succession from one place where there wasn't a big population back then. It was a melancholy reminder for the Warwick district of the uncertainty of life back in those old days. And you shouldn't forget that.
No, you shouldn't, and that is a great story. Now, of course, you're going to be posting this up online?
That's right. You can go to all the socials for History Out There, or go to my website, historyouthere.com.
Fantastic, mate. Appreciate it as always. Are you going to have a little flutter on the horsies today?
No, I'm actually got a bit of work to do around the house. That never stops, you know. That.
No, it doesn't, mate. That's for sure. It may be the race that stops the nation, but it doesn't stop Harold Peacock.
It doesn't stop housework either,
No.
or any more research for next week. And next week I'll be coming to you live from the Western District of Victoria. I've got a special story down there to tell you.
Oh, I look forward to that. You get around, don't you?
Oh, anything for a good story for you, Dave, mate.
I know. Mate, thank you so much. We'll look forward to catching up with you next week from Victoria.
See you then.
There we go, Harold Peacock, and you can check out that story and many others. Jump online to historyouthere.com and read up on your local history. A quick break, back with more in a moment.